laugh with people, you cry with people.
You're kind of just like someone's like spiritual therapist, more or less. You're dealing with everyone's emotional and spiritual needs on a day-to-day life.
There's some real joys, there's some real heartaches, but when you've been walking alongside of folks for a while and you see joy happen in their lives, you really get to share with them in that joy. But the inverse is true. When heartache happens, you get to share with them in the heartache. Have you ever seen the guy at the circus with the little pegs on his knees and on his head and on his elbows, and he's got basketballs spinning off them all, and he's like whacking them all and trying to keep the basketball spinning without ever letting one fall? That's really what the life of a pastor is. And inevitably, if one basketball is done, a new basketball is placed right there, and you got to keep spinning it. My average week will start with Sunday and will end with a Sunday. So Sunday is always on the march, and Sunday is always approaching. And that's mainly because, I say that because the big deadline is always Sunday. Doesn't matter what else is going on, Sunday's coming. On Tuesday, I take my first crack at Sunday, and I look at the text for Sunday, and I generally translate it from Greek to English or from Hebrew to English. Friday morning's trying to write the sermon. Saturday afternoon, like dinner time or so, I come back to the church, and that's when I really sit down and rewrite the sermon, and then I start practicing it. So Saturday late afternoon, I'll show up here, and I'll be here till Saturday night at some point, 8 or 9 o'clock at night, whenever I'm done and ready for Sunday. But in addition to that, we've always got projects that are coming up. Meetings, we're trying to get secondary staffing into the church, screens put into the sanctuary, we're trying to get summer camps set up. Right now, I was just given a car this morning to give to a family that's in need, and I've got my doctorate classes that I'm always having to get ready for. Counseling sessions, planning, preparation. I also get ready for Wednesday midweek classes, which is all the little kids of the church. We get 70 little kids and like 30 adult helpers that show up, and we do a Sunday school kind of programming. Jump right into that role where I do opening devotions with all of them, then go into teaching 2 confirmation classes to the middle school age kids. Then after that's done, then I do the closing devotions. Then immediately after that, I move into either the men's Bible study or into the high school Bible study. And I go back and forth as to every other week I do one or the other. College Bible study, if I've got somebody I need to go visit, hospitals, nursing homes. Yesterday I went to see a gentleman who is passing away. The entire week builds towards Sunday.
I remember one call that I got from my dad when I was here in college, and he just sounded exhausted. So I asked him, I said, how much have you worked this week? And he told me, he's like, I think I put in 72 hours. And you kind of ask him how that like tallies up so quick. And he's just like, well, I had a nursing home visit, and then I had a hospital visit, and then I had a funeral, then I had to meet for marriage counseling. And I think just so quickly, those hours that he works in a week just pile up.
There are days where the kids don't see him at night very often. We try to spend as much time as we can with Rocco, but Sundays he gets up very early and leaves. You know, our church is at 8:30, so he has to be there about 7:30. So he gets up early then, he's on all Sunday morning, then we have a break after that, you know, and then Monday's his day off, so that's a nice day. But then Tuesday through Saturday can be anything from, 9 in the morning till 9 at night. He comes back for lunch sometimes. Over Easter, he squeezed in a funeral, so it was exciting stuff and then sad things and then exciting. Sometimes people, will want them to be at like the Eagle Scout presentation or birthday parties or extra things on the side.
But Monday is my day off, and I have become good at taking that off.
Mondays we kind of hold as our sacred day so we can have our family time. Otherwise, during the week it's kind of busy.
My wife and I decided that between all of the classes that I do and between everything else, that we needed to figure out a new way for me to take Mondays entirely off with the family. My son has his own bedroom, so he always asks me to come down and climb into bed with him. So I'll lay down next to him and we will dream up new projects. So we decided to buy a bus, and we're turning it into an RV as kind of a family project. So everybody on Monday now is outside working on this big old school bus.
We are trying to make our school bus into an RV so we can go camping as a family. We're trying to go once a week in Colorado and 4 times just to like Wilson Lake or somewhere close.
So much of the pastor's life is spent outside of the home, and you barely ever see any of your family members. This is going to give me an excuse to get away and to spend time with the little ones. And it gives us a project to work on together as a family as we build it.
The kids enjoy it. They were out there sanding the bus the other day, and I think it's really good because they get to spend time with Dad, but they also learn how to build things.
To serve the Lord, really God doesn't need anything from us, but those around us do need things. And so what keeps me motivated is knowing that my wife and children need to be provided for. Knowing that my congregation needs to hear the word of the Lord and needs to be forgiven of their sins and needs to be cared for in many other ways too.
Sometimes I feel my job as the pastor's wife is actually just to keep Rocco encouraged, because there are times where it is very discouraging or he's got a lot of pressure put on him. So sometimes that is my role to tell him it's okay, this will pass. I just think it's a privilege to be part of a church, and I feel like God has given a pastor's wife an opportunity to kind of help round out their husband in different ways, and they are an important part of the family.
It can be like super exhausting and emotional and like mental like work that gets put in as a pastor. So just to show that people really appreciate him doing what he's been doing for such a long time, it just helps like him and our family like keep going with it.